Hey everyone, my name is Melissa McIntosh, and I'm a therapist and the owner of Southern Kentucky Therapy. So, I wanted to share this video just to talk a little bit about some mental wellness concerns and some things that a lot of people are dealing with around mental wellness at Christmas time. Christmas time can be a really happy and joyful season, but it can also add a lot of additional stress. And so, I wanted to just touch base on that and offer some really practical tools and tips that we can use as we move through the holiday season. So, some mental health considerations for Christmas time are listed here. I've got 10 that I want to focus on today. There is an increased stress or expectation pressure that builds from being a part of our culture, and that can be our family culture or our culture within society. So, there's just a lot of different stressors and just the pressure of doing the things that everyone else is doing and what we see around us can be really intense. Another thing is the financial strain of Christmas time and trying to come up with enough money to buy everyone a gift and have a really good meal and decorate and all of those things. The third thing is grief and loss that we're dealing with. So, if you are suffering from any kind of grief or if you've lost someone that you love, it can be a really difficult time. And we'll touch more on that on a specific slide for grief and loss. If you have difficulty in your family with a dysfunctional family or kind of an unhealthy family dynamic, then family dynamics and increased conflict can be big stressors for you during the Christmas season. Loneliness and isolation are important considerations when we're talking about mental health during Christmas time. Number 6 that's listed here is seasonal affective disorder and reduced daylight. Number 7 is the disruption of our routines. Number 8 is any holiday triggers for trauma that we may experience. Number 9 is caregiver stress. And then 10 is reflection on the past year. So, first of all, let's talk about increased stress and expectation pressure. Pressure to create a perfect holiday can heighten anxiety. And you'll hear a lot of people talking about, as parents, it's our job to bring the magic for our children during Christmas. We cultivate and create that magic during Christmas. Your family may be expecting a certain type of meal or for you to show up in a certain kind of way to be happy and joyful and productive, and the decorations and just all of the moving pieces that go along with Christmas time. So there's expectations from family, from social media. When you get on Facebook and Instagram and you see what other people are doing, and you see influencers who are spending their whole day like working on their decorations to take videos to show you that, but then you're navigating a full-time job and family and maybe supporting other extended family members and community things that you're involved in, and you're trying to make this perfect Christmas as compared to other people that you see on social media. Cultural norms are really important when talking about Christmas too, because there's the expectations of decorations, putting up the tree, doing all the things, and then all of this can just lead to feeling really inadequate, really vulnerable, and like you're just not measuring up. Overcommitting to events or responsibilities can contribute to burnout because there's so much going on in the community, and there's so many different things that can take our time and our attention, and that call for us to commit to those things. If we're not careful, we can just get really burnt out, and then we don't have the time and energy to focus on things that were really important for us to begin with. So some support strategies are to set clear and healthy boundaries around how much of my time am I going to allow for other things that were not part of my original plan for how I wanted to celebrate Christmas. How much of my money? What is that going to look like? How am I going to make time for myself as well? Simplifying your plans around Christmas, and maybe everything doesn't have to be extravagant. Some things can be very simple and fun and enjoyable. Scheduling rest periods within your Christmas season, making sure that you have a day to rest, making sure that you have time for yourself to kind of process and just reflect on what's already happened and what's going to happen next, and just taking that time that you need for yourself to re-energize, feel like the best version of yourself. And then adjusting your expectations as needed around Christmas, because sometimes our expectations are just too big. It's beyond achievement. It's just not reasonable. Financial strain is an important consideration between gift giving and traveling and events and buying a small exchangeable gift for each thing and wearing the ugly sweaters and making sure that your kids have all of the outfits for Christmas, and holiday meals. All of this can create a lot of financial anxiety when we've got our regular monthly bills that have to be paid. And when we're comparing ourselves to other people, that can intensify that stress about money even more because it seems like everyone else is doing so much. And then we feel that pressure to keep up and we end up spending in a way that's more impulsive and it wasn't part of the plan. And then we can feel really stressed because we have to try to make up the difference or figure this out. And so some support strategies for that are to create a holiday budget, discuss low cost traditions, normalize modest gift exchanges, and play games where you win a gift at the end of the game instead of buying a gift for everyone. Grief and loss is a really big one during Christmas time and the new year. Holidays often intensify grief if you've lost a loved one or if you have a relationship that's just not as close, or maybe there's an estrangement in the family. Traditions can feel really bittersweet and painful for you, and we need to normalize being able to acknowledge that grief instead of pushing it away and pretending like it's not there. Some support strategies are to incorporate in remembrance rituals. Maybe have an open seat at the table that symbolizes this person who's no longer there with you to celebrate, but their legacy and their life had such a lasting impact on you, and you love them so dearly that you want to acknowledge their absence and incorporate that into your celebration. Also, give yourself permission to feel emotional and to feel what you need to feel and process that so that you can heal from that and move forward, and modify your traditions as needed. Some people light a candle to acknowledge their loved ones. Some people frame a portrait and put that at the table. Some people might even journal or take a piece of paper and put it on the table and then write things about that person, really special memories that you had about that person. So thinking about, how can I honor my grief in this season? How can I acknowledge what I'm feeling in this loss and how important this person was to me and the impact that it has on my life today, while still celebrating in a way that that person would want me to? Family dynamics and conflict are a big one. With increased time with our family, it can bring up unresolved conflicts and boundary issues or emotional triggers, and it can be very stressful, especially if your family is dysfunctional or unhealthy or they don't respect boundaries, make snide comments, or try to tear you down. If you're the black sheep or the scapegoat in the family and your family is your immediate family, you and your kids are the ones that are kind of pushed to the side, it can be really hard. Some clients experience re-traumatization from returning to difficult family environments. And some things that you can do to move through this is to establish exit strategies, to know this is the amount of time I'm going, this is the time I'm leaving, this is how I'm going to leave, this is what I'm going to say. Setting those expectations in advance and saying, yes, we can come, but we can only stay for this amount of time. Practicing assertiveness and being very direct and clear about your needs and your feelings and what the other people, how their behavior is impacting you and what's expected moving forward. Setting emotional and physical boundaries are important. Emotional boundaries are around our emotions and how people have access to us emotionally and how they can make us feel. But physical boundaries, they represent how much of us, how close people can get, whether or not they can touch us, how they can touch us, or even how close we get to them in a room, where we sit out in that room. And so thinking about some of those things and what do I really want instead of what does my family expect from me is really important. And just knowing that this is a very common thing that a lot of people deal with during Christmas. Loneliness and social isolation. This is especially important for older adults. Being alone during the holidays can heighten feelings of isolation, and those who don't have family support can really experience this. Many people feel really out of place because the season doesn't match the cultural message of togetherness, and you see Christmas celebrations on TV, you see the expectation, you see other people celebrating their joy, you get on social media and you see these people who have a lot of people around them who seem seem to be well supported and happy, and that's just not what your experience is. That's not your reality, and it can make you feel very isolated and alone and misunderstood and uncared for. So some support strategies are to plan intentional social activities. Be very intentional about what you do and who you do it with. Cultivate that rich and meaningful life with your friends. Use community resources. There are a lot of things that are going on in the community that you can be a part of and that you can enjoy, and explore meaningful solo rituals. You don't have to have a large group around you to celebrate the Christmas season and make it meaningful. And so thinking about that shift in your perception around what Christmas is supposed to be, thinking about changing your expectations a little bit, and instead of what it ought to be based on what the world says, what do I want it to be so that I can have a rich and meaningful life? Seasonal affective disorder affects a lot of people, or SAD as it's otherwise known, and reduced daylight and the gloomy weather. Shorter days really increase the amount of fatigue that we feel, our low mood and depression, and a decreased motivation to get up and do things and really go above and beyond with our day-to-day activities. Sometimes we feel like we're just getting by. We're just really sad. We're just really down and out. And stress can worsen symptoms of depression and anxiety. So being mindful of that, seeking out professional support so that you can be the best version of yourself, so that you can problem solve, so that you can have proactive plans in place to navigate some of these challenges. Light therapy is very beneficial, and increased physical activity, as well as structured routines, going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time, having certain things that you do during the day that are predictable, that can really help you. Disruption of those routines is important because changes in sleep and eating and daily structure can destabilize your mental health. Also, it's important to think about alcohol consumption during the holidays, because during Christmas and the holidays, alcohol consumption can really increase, and that can affect our mood and our mental state and how we're feeling inside of ourselves. So, some support strategies are to maintain consistent routines whenever possible. Monitor your mood triggers. Are you noticing shifts in your mood, and what is bringing that on? And then plan balanced meals and have good, healthy sleep habits. That keeps your circadian rhythm in a normal pattern, and it helps you to regulate your mood and to regulate your day-to-day activities. Balanced meals and nutrition are also very important. There are holiday triggers for trauma survivors. So if you have been through a great amount of trauma in your childhood or throughout your life, or maybe during a Christmas season at a previous point, certain sounds, smells, places, or gatherings may trigger very painful memories. You can have emotional flashbacks, sensory flashbacks. You can just experience a lot of different things, and understanding that that is normal within the context of that trauma lens is important. There can also be pressure to participate, and that can feel really overwhelming. It may be hard for you to participate during this season. It may be hard for you to participate during or within a large crowd of people. Maybe you experience some hypervigilance, or you just struggle and you feel really overwhelmed when there's a lot of people talking at the same time and you're in a big group for a long period of time and it's hot in the room, things like that. So just being aware of those triggers and identifying those triggers so that you can plan ahead, and developing coping strategies to deal with those as they come, grounding exercises, and choosing supportive environments where you feel like yourself, where you feel safe. Safety is a very important thing as we navigate our lives. And it can be really difficult to celebrate a very important holiday like Christmas if you feel very unsafe in the group that you're in or in the environment that you're in. And then you're in this state of fight or flight, and you just can't really enjoy what's happening. It kind of defeats the purpose of trying to celebrate. Caregiver stress, when parents and caregivers and healthcare professionals feel overwhelmed trying to hold everything together for other people, trying to do it all and show up for everyone, and emotional labor increases during the season. So some support strategies for this are to delegate tasks, ask other people for help, hand off some of the things, some of the decisions, let other people support you, practice self-compassion, and schedule personal downtime so that you have time for yourself to do the things that you enjoy that aren't necessarily tied to taking care of someone else or doing something for someone else. As caregivers, sometimes we begin to see our whole world in light of what we do for other people, and we're not always the very best at taking the time for ourselves to make sure that we're showing up as the best version of ourselves. If you're not taking care of yourself, then you're not taking as good a care of another person as you could if you were taking care of yourself. So don't sacrifice yourself in the name of helping other people. Reflection and evaluation of the past year. Many people experience emotional discomfort when they reflect on accomplishments, losses, or disappointments of the year. When you're looking back and thinking, I wish things would have been different, this has been a really difficult year. And then also when you're looking at the new year transition and you're thinking about the pressure to change and do things better and be a better version of yourself. So you can feel the pressure from looking back and thinking, I really regret that, or I hate that that happened, or I wish things would have been different. I wish I could go back and change that. I'm just feeling very sad about the thought of how hard this year was. And then you're looking forward and thinking, I want things to be better and be different. And so there's this push and pull between those two different perspectives. So the support strategies can include encouraging self-reflection with compassion, looking back and reminding yourself that you did the best that you could in the situation that you were in based off of the information that you had. And maybe if you didn't do the very best that you could, you can do better moving forward. So those emotions are an indication that things didn't really meet your value and that wasn't really how you wanted to show up in life for that person or in that situation. But things can be different moving forward now that you're acknowledging that. Set realistic goals that are achievable and that are smart and measurable, and then practice gratitude, because when we practice gratitude, we teach our brains how to think about things. We develop those neuro patterns where we are more prone to be grateful for the things that we have. We have more positive and helpful thoughts instead of focusing on deficits or areas where we failed to achieve what we needed. So, some general therapeutic tips include normalizing mixed emotions. It's okay for the holidays to be joyful and difficult. Two things can be going on inside of you at the same time. We are very complex people. Multiple things can be going on at the same time. You can be happy and joyful and grateful and also be sad, experience grief, and feel like this is a very big challenge. Those can happen at the same time, and that's normal. So, don't fight and wrestle with one or the other or beat yourself up and allow a lot of guilt and shame because you don't feel this certain way. Encourage mindfulness to stay grounded and present in the moment instead of thinking about the past and focusing on what could have been or looking to the future and thinking about what needs to be, which can heighten anxiety and depression. Use coping tools such as journaling, breathing exercises, and relaxation strategies to help you cope with the stress and to calm your nervous system. Identify support systems such as friends, community groups, faith communities, and peer support people, and then promote proactive planning to reduce overwhelm. If you know that there's the potential that you're going to face a challenge, go ahead and be thinking about, how do I want to show up in that moment? How do I want to deal with that challenge? How do I want to problem solve? What do I want that to look like? Because you are empowered to make decisions about the things that you're going to be dealing with when you use proactive planning. So hopefully those helped. Just to kind of think about some very common things that we're all dealing with, and these are very normal. And hopefully this offers you some encouragement. If you need help and you want to talk to a professional and you want to work through some of these things, or you have different challenges in your life, you can reach me through email at southernkentuckytherapy@gmail.com. You can go to my website at southernkytherapy.org, or you can call me at 606-392-3958. And I offer therapy services in my office in a face-to-face setting, and I also do virtual across the state of Kentucky. So I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas, and I hope that it is one for filled with great memories that you have for the rest of your life.